David, 2 Samuel chapter 1, David hears of Saul's death. After the death of Saul, David returned from defeating the Amalekites and staying in Ziklag 2 days. On the third day, a man arrived from Saul's camp with his clothes torn and with dust on his head. When he came to David, he fell to the ground to pay him honor. "Where have you come from?" David asked him. He answered, "I have escaped from the Israelite camp." "What happened?" David asked. "Tell me." He said, "The men fled from the battle. Many of them fell and died, and Saul and his son Jonathan are dead." Then David said to the young man who brought him the report, "How do you know that Saul and his son Jonathan are dead?" "I happened to be on Mount Gilboa," the young man said, "and there was Saul, leaning on his spear with the chariots and riders almost upon him. When he turned around and saw me, he called out to me, and I said, 'What can I do?' He asked me, 'Who are you?' 'An Amalekite,' I answered. Then he said to me, 'Stand over me and kill me. I am in the throes of death, but I'm still alive.' So I stood over him and killed him, because I knew that after he had fallen, he could not survive. And I took the crown that was on his head and the band on his arm and have brought them here to my Lord." So, a quick pause. What we know of is that Saul fell on his sword, and his sword bearer also fell on his sword. So, what is this person saying? He's an Amalekite, and he's now telling a different accord to David. He's telling him that he killed him. Now, there's a lot to think about right here. There's a whole sermon right here. Remember, David was attacked by Saul over and over again, time and time again, to the point where time and time again, David had a chance to kill Saul, but he didn't because he kept informing the people, including the people who were his men, the men that were following him, including warriors, that Saul also was anointed and that he was the leader as directed by the Lord. And so that had reverence, that had respectability, that prevented him from taking his own frustrations out and maybe something that he may have felt justified in doing, which was ending Saul's life at any of those times that Saul was giving into his hands. However, he did it. See, the Lord can test us in all kinds of ways, including this, including how David, for example, had a chance to take out his enemy and he didn't, because he also knew he may have understood or not understood that it was a test, that it wasn't for him to take vengeance. It's the Lord's. It's the Lord's will and the Lord to take vengeance. And that's something that we can apply to our lives as well. We can apply that past, present, apply that to our lives. We don't need to take vengeance. We're not here to take vengeance on each other. We're here to love each other. And that's another thing that was brought up in a previous Bible study about persecution. We're not here to persecute. We're not here to use the word as something to persecute. When we do spread the word and people, it's something that makes you recognize yourself as well as sin about wrongdoings. And when we learn about wrongdoings, don't each of us, you, me, and everybody, feel bad? It makes us feel bad. It makes us feel in a way. It makes us feel like we're being told that we're doing something wrong. And that's the word in itself allows for correction and it allows for the love. It allows for the repentance and the love and the comfort and the encouragement. That's what the word does. It's full of love. And that's where we are to love each other, not persecute each other. So in this case, there's already red flags with this Amalekite coming to David and telling him a different account as to what actually has happened, as well as telling him that the Amalekite telling David that he had killed Saul. So, what kind of thoughts and feelings come to your mind as we go over these passages? How does it make you feel and what does it make you think?